This is The Views Expressed. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for the 8th of October, 2012. I am so glad to be here because yesterday I had put a whole lot of stuff up on Facebook, and Friday and Saturday we were kind of busy, so I really didn't have a whole lot to put up on Facebook. But go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, check it out. Tonight at around 6:15, 6:20 p.m. Pacific, I will be on Late Night in the Midlands over there with Michael Vera. LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Check that out. Look at the show lineup for tonight. And I am honored it's going to be a split show, and Dr. Jerome Corsi is going to be on talking with Michael Vera as well. So I am so honored to be on the show and being the lead-in, as they say, to Dr. Jerome Corsi, who I have a great deal of respect for. So anyway, I am going to be on Late Night in the Midlands with Michael Vera tonight, a little bit after 6. Go to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Lots of things going on. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check things out. We have a Houston man receives visit from FBI after photographing weather. Yeah. Judge Napolitano had put this up. I shared it. It's from AmericanThinker.com. It's a blog. Texas school district to require students to wear RFID chip while on campus. And I'll get into what Paul Joseph Watson had received in his email a little bit later on. There's a video from Truth Beckons. It's a video from BirminghamMail.net. 5,000 protesters march in Birmingham against austerity and as conservative conference starts. Isn't that lovely? There's a picture up there from it doesn't show. From Truth Beckons, another one. 21 facts about America's decaying infrastructure that will blow your mind. I got so many pictures up there. There's another one from Truth Beckons. USDA admits exterminating birds, crops, and bees. You ever wondered why hundreds of birds and all that fall out of the sky? There's your, you might want to read that. Also, I have the full PDF of H.R. 6566. Well, not the full, but part of it. H.R. 6566, Mass Fatality Planning and Religious Considerations Act. I printed it out, so I may read from that today. Corporations, 13 of the deadliest corporations. Got that up there, too. There's a video. Watch 2 Canadians discover that the U.S. is now a police state. How television affects your brain chemistry. Isn't that wonderful? That's just so great. We'll get into that and more. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. That's where I'll be going when I get back from this break. You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hold down. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
You are right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. You're listening to The Views Expressed Live. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. It is the 8th of October, 2012. Thank you for joining me today on this Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. Yes, let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Now, getting onward to the stories I will be covering today. Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check that out. I picked up a lot of articles from Truth Beckons, so you might want to check that out as well. Hey, I want to read you something. I listened to Paul Joseph Watson on InfoWars and PrisonPlanet.tv, and he received something in the mail. Now, you need to listen to this, but I also encourage you to go out and find the information on your own. It's only going to help you and probably save your life. Paul Joseph Watson received this, and I'll just read it. Quote, I am a retired U.S. Air Force Aircraft Systems Superintendent and a native of Washington, D.C. I am writing to share some information about something that should be cause for alarm. For the past 7 weeks, there has been a large number of military aircraft, cargo aircraft landing and taking off from Andrews Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. They appear to be leaving heavy with cargo. This massive airlift is still in progress. This should be breaking news. An airlift of this magnitude should be a front page story. It appears to me the government is evacuating before the excrement makes contact with the air transference device. People had better wake up and pay attention to see what is happening right before their eyes. When the government in Washington, D.C. starts to higher ground, the dam has been breached. Maybe you can shed some light on this subject. Thank you. Unquote. That was a letter, an email sent to Paul Joseph Watson of PrisonPlanet.com, editor of PrisonPlanet.com and Infowars.com. And this person, this U.S. Air Force Aircraft Systems Superintendent, is right. He's military. He's right there. He sees it. There it is, right in front of his eyes. you're going to discount his claim? You're going to tell him that he's a conspiracy theorist? And on that note, you're going to tell 1,500 architects and engineers that 9/11 wasn't an inside job when they know the truth? I mean, seriously. Let's move on. From Liberty and Freedom Foundation, not my group, Liberty and Freedom Foundation on Facebook. They write, Chick-fil-A stands their grounds, does not succumb to liberal, far-left, or LGBT pressure and blackmail. Despite erroneous rumors on the internet started by the far-left extremists who tried to silence the free speech of Chick-fil-A, they have in fact not succumbed to the blackmail attempts of liberals. Quote, there continues to be enormous implications in the media that Chick-fil-A changed our practices and priorities in order to obtain permission for a new restaurant in Chicago, unquote, Kathy wrote. Quote, this is incorrect. Chick-fil-A made no such concessions, and we remain true to who we are and who we have been. And while our sincere intent has been to remain out of this political and social debate, events from Chicago this week have once again resulted in questions around our giving. A part of our corporate commitment is to be reasonable stewards of all that God has entrusted to us. Because of this commitment, Chick-fil-A's giving heritage is focused on programs that educate youth, strengthen families, and enrich marriages and support communities. We will continue to focus our giving in those areas, unquote. Way to stand by your values, Chick-fil-A. And it says... says down here, click like. I don't have the button on the page, but I agree with them. If you're going to stand by your guns, if you're going to sit there and stand on your principles and not move, then you should be on the front lines dispelling any rumors whatsoever that anyone has ever had about you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the far left liberals, the fully loaded Democrats have screwed this country to the nth degree. But I'm not leaving out the far right radical Republicans because they've done the same thing. By not standing on their principles, they have succumbed to gridlock in Washington, D.C. by not doing what needs to be done to force the hands of the majority party and say, no, the American people will not want this and we are not signing on to it. But here's the truth and the facts, folks. Both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are bought off and paid for by Goldman Sachs. Truly elite company that wants nothing to do with your rights, wants you not to have a gun, anything. They want you to be totally under control of the banking cartel. It's important, though, to remember that we, the people, have the power, not them. It's vitally important to understand and to remember that we are the ones that are the guiding light for our community, not them. It does not take a village to raise a child. If anyone knows about that book by Hillary Clinton, it takes well-mannered, well-educated, well-informed people to do what must be done to secure a nation in its principles and in its founding documents. That's the bottom line. So I stand behind Chick-fil-A on this one. Some people might say, oh, that picture said, Chick-fil-A, click like if you support Chick-fil-A and their right to free speech and the right to support charities. They want to, even if they don't agree with the far left extremists, but instead they support wholesome family values. Gotta scroll down a little bit, click like. There you go. I want to say something here to all you. I put up a 10, I don't know, it's like half hour, almost a half hour podcast or something like that. You can go click on it. And I basically said I'm done with stupid people and that people need to pay attention. Now, in this podcast, or in the message that I put up earlier, I may have sounded as if I was mean and cruel and harsh and offensive and whatever. All I got to say is get thicker skin, because you obviously have no clue. Okay? There are more people around me that disagree with me on certain elements and certain issues. We can still, at the end of the day, go out and have dinner together. You know. But then there are people who are just completely awash with unintelligent thought. In other words, they're ill-informed, they don't know, they have no clue, they don't want to know, it's hard for them to get up out of bed and tie their shoes in the morning, unless they have those Velcro type shoes. But I'm telling you, there are times, and I didn't get into it in the message, but there are times when there comes a time when you've had enough, that there is nothing that you can say to these stupid people that is ever going to wake them up or help them become aware of what's going on. Ever. Okay? Ever. All right? I have... And take some water, thank you. I have literally sat down with people. And I have literally told them, here's what's happening. I have put it out in front of them. I have laid out the information that they need to understand what it is that I'm talking about, and they look at it and go, "Oh, you're one of those conspiracy theorists." No, I'm not. I understand the facts. I understand the data presented to me. I understand what's going on. And yes, it is a conspiracy, but it's not a theory anymore. It's fact. And I encourage people listening to go out and look this stuff up. Okay? Now, you might think, well, why should we? Why can't we just be happy? I just want to have a happy day. You know what I mean? I don't want to listen to all that crap because I just want my day to be good. Well, let me tell you something. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And I'm going to be right up front. Because this is no holds barred. Besides, I'm not beholden to any network, and FCC doesn't have control over me. So, here's what I want to say. My definition of a stupid person is someone who is ill-informed and uneducated. Okay? That's what it is. So when I say stupid, I do mean stupid. I don't mean any other word, or I'm not being politically correct. You're stupid, you're stupid. That's just the way it is. You're not paying attention. You're not putting yourself in a position to where you want to learn. So you're stupid. There you go. Now what I'm about to say is, might sound harsh if it hasn't already, and it might sound a little offensive if it hasn't already, but I'm going to say this. To those people who basically don't want to listen to any of this, and politics is not their thing, or they don't want to dwell on it, they understand it's there, but they don't want to dwell on it, that kind of thing. I'm going to say this to you, and hopefully you still want to have dinner with me afterwards, metaphorically speaking. But I'm going to say this, and it's this. I'm done with your ignorance. I am done catering to the elements to which you need to understand, which is see, spot, run. I'm not going to dumb it down to your understanding. You are going to have to go out, and I hopefully encourage you to go out and do the research on your own. I told somebody once, you're going to have to come up to my level of intellect and intelligence, and then we'll talk. The rebuttal was, no, everyone has a different level of understanding. I have to agree with that. But I am myself personally, I'm not going to lower myself to somebody else's level of ignorance. I'm not going to do it. I'm done. Okay? I'm done. If somebody gets something out of that, or out of this show, or out of anything that I talk about, great. I applaud you. I will shake your hand. Let's go have a burger or something. You know what I mean? But if you're just going to sit there and say, oh, it's not my cup of tea. I don't dwell on the stuff. I know it's there. I just don't dwell on it because I want to have a happy day. If that's all you want is a happy day, then I suggest, obviously you can do whatever you want, but I would encourage you to go out and find this information. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook and go check out the links that I put up there. Go check out Associated Press and Reuters and Daily Mail and any number of papers and look through it and read. Oh, what, you don't have time? You're too busy watching your stupid reality shows? People, come on. Don't be so damn naive. If you got a camera in your face, it's usually going to be scripted and it's not reality. Okay? Well, I want to watch Dancing with the Stars. 'Cause I got someone in mind who might win. Have you had that problem a long time? Did you just forego that area of life where you learned how to tie your shoes and now you're just walking around with Velcro on them? Now I know, okay, I know some people might be offended by that. I know that some people might say, why are you so offensive? Why are you so harsh? Why, Well, I could say the same thing about you. Why are you not paying attention? Most people are good-hearted. Most people are very well informed. There are some out there that are just... I saw a picture. I didn't put it up, though. I saw a picture. Basically, it was like, there was a door and there was a sign on the door and it said something to the effect like, idiots enter here, and the guy was knocking on the wall next to the door. Hello? If I had... I know this may sound weird, but if I had a nickel for every time somebody said I was a conspiracy theorist, I'd have a bunch of nickels. I deal with facts. I deal with taking the news. I don't care if it's Rachel Maddow or Chris Matthews over at MSNBC, or anybody, Fox, CBS, whatever. I take the information that they have, that they read off of their teleprompters, because they're nothing more than biological androids, and I dig through it, and I say, you know what? They said this. I'm going to look that up. They said that. I'm going to look that up, because I have to do it. Why can't you? Oh, wait. You have Velcro on your shoes. I know. Why am I offending people? I had somebody tell me that to get people to listen to your show, you should be nice. You should not be so harsh, not be so offensive. I'd listen to it more if you weren't talking politics all the time. My question to you is, when did your liberties and freedoms become political? By the way, I ask that question a lot, and it usually shuts people up, and they don't know what to say after that. Totally clueless. It's okay. Let me ask you another question. Why did Rick Perry in Texas say that every girl at 12 years old had to get a Gardasil shot when the CDC and other European doctors have said and researchers have said the Gardasil shot kills you, gives people, all sorts of problems? Why is it Mayor Bloomberg is in New York City telling people that they can't have 32-ounce sodas? Okay? Why is he also telling movie theaters they can't sell the huge thing of popcorn? Then again, is that popcorn GMO? Something to think about. I've never once have I not given somebody the facts. I got to tell you, if I'm wrong, I'd be the first in line to admit it. Because I don't know everything. Okay? As simple as that. I don't know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Send me your information. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Take into consideration this. Hold that thinking cap on your head for a moment. Think about this. You wake up in the morning, you go to work. Your work's pretty good, I would imagine. Your supervisor comes to you and tells you that your quota was met last week. This is a Monday. You come into work Monday. Your supervisor says your quota was met last week. You can take a few days off as a reward. You're going, but I've got to pay the bills. I got stuff oh, well, as a reward, we'll just take a couple of days off. You going to pay me for those days? No, that's just a reward. Wait a minute. I met my quota. I don't get anything extra for it, but you're giving me 2 days off and not paying me for it. No, thank you. I will decline your offer and stay at work. Then your supervisor looks at you and says, no. You don't get it. Our policies require you to take a few days off once you meet your quota. That way you can come back and regroup and, on to a next project. Well, that individual goes into work thinking that he's going to be working, but then is required to take a few days off after he reaches his goal, which he doesn't get anything extra for it, but they want to give him 2 days off without pay. It's kind of a switch from 30, 40 years ago. When you did more, you got a reward for it, like maybe a raise or a bonus or something, right? So in that scenario, that guy goes to work. He is commanded under certain policies and regulations to take a few days off because he reached his quota. Point being is that he's not needed. He's faster than the ones there doing the same thing, but he's reached his quota. I put that in quotes. He's reached his goal, and now they're going to give him 2 days off. But the other people on the line that do the same thing are still working, and they're far beyond reaching their quota. They've surpassed it. But this guy is commanded to take a day off, a couple of days off. Wait. What's wrong with that picture? Here's my point. When you're better at something, people expect more. People expect you to do more when you have the experience of doing more. So therefore, they're going to manipulate the situation to where they're not going to be required to pay you anymore. This happens all the time. I've got middle management and management experience. I've got, of course, I've, done the shift lead and all that, and I've done all that. My fiance has a degree in early childhood development, has run her own in-home child care, has the experience, books, you name it, it's there. But not one place here in Reno, Nevada that is a child care center ever talked to her, or very few of them, let me be correct, have ever talked to her or interviewed her. Why? She's better than they are, and they are scared of that. If you're better than somebody, they are scared that you're going to take their position, and they're afraid that you're going to be better at it than they are, and they don't want to step down. Point being is, our federal government, Washington, D.C., is the same way. They look at you, well-informed, well-educated. They're going to try what is required of them through mass propaganda and media to try to dumb everybody else down so that those dumb, stupid people can come to you and say, oh, stop being a conspiracy theorist. Do you see my point now? We're surrounded with idiots. No, I make no bones about it, and I'm not going to apologize. You're stupid, okay, period. Although I am preaching to the choir, they're not stupid, they know what's going on, and they're surrounded by idiots. In 1983, I think it was, little short story here before I go to break at the 35 after mark. In 1983, I moved up to Reno, Nevada. Talked to a lot of people, was working, and all that. And I already knew what was going on. I was well awake and aware of what was going on while I was in high school. I studied most of this stuff, history and all that. And I saw some things coming down the line that I didn't like. So in 1983-84, I was telling people in Reno, I said, this is what's going to happen. You're not going to recognize anything that's coming down the line, and here's what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. They were looking at me going, would you stop saying that? Nobody wants to hear that. And I looked at them, I said, you need to hear it. And they're going, no, I don't. I don't care. This is 1983, folks. Well, in 1994, I talked to my friend at Christian Life Center in Stockton, where I grew up, and we were talking, and we both saw the information about your cable box having a microphone in it. You're now, this is what I'm looking at in 1994. He saw some information saying that your TV is going to have a camera on it, and they're going to see everything. Folks, this is 2012. How many of you have a desktop with a camera on it? Put some tape over it. How many of you have a cell phone? The Telecommunications Act of 1996 told the phone manufacturers, the government did, that they want a backdoor into your phone. They can turn it on anytime they want. There was a school where they issued school laptops, and the school would turn on the webcam to see what was going on. Okay, don't give me this crap that it's a conspiracy theory. It's not. It's not. I'll be back right after this. It's New York, February 6th, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, a desk clerk, has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. From family to friends in everyday life, he sees it for what it is. He'll tell you his views on family, politics, and what's in the news. From the world around him, he discusses many issues. Come listen to The Brian Keller Show right here on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Broadcasting live on Spreaker.com for the 8th of October 2012. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check that out. Go to freeamericaradio.wix.com/the views expressed. That is our website if you're not there already. My apologies for not being in the chat room there. HR 6566. Go look it up. 112th Congress, second session. HR 6566. A bill introduced into the House of Representatives the 28th of September 2012. A bill to amend the Homeland Security Act of 2002 to require the administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency to provide guidance and coordination for mass fatality planning and for other purposes. That's what I'm worried about. What are the other purposes? Be it enacted by the State and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, Section 1 short title. This act may be cited as the Mass Fatality Planning and Religious Consideration Act. Section 2 findings. Congress finds the following. 1. Emergency preparedness. Often plans for how to prepare and provide for survivors of a natural disaster, act of terrorism, or other man-made disasters, but fails to plan for how to prepare for and respond to mass fatalities that result from such an incident. Number 2. Funeral homes, cemeteries, and mortuaries could be overwhelmed should mass fatalities arise from a natural disaster, act of terrorism, or other man-made disaster. Number 3, different religions have different customs surrounding death. For example, the Jewish and Muslim religions call for burial of the deceased not later than 48 hours after death. Section 3. Preparedness for mass fatalities resulting from a natural disaster, act of terrorism, or other man-made disaster. Section 504 of the Homeland Security Act of 2002, Section United States Code 314, is amended by adding at the end of the following new subsection. Subsection C, preparedness for mass fatalities. In the carrying out of this section, the administrator shall provide guidance to and coordinate with appropriate individuals, including representatives from different communities, private sector businesses, nonprofit organizations, and religious organizations, to prepare for and respond to natural disaster, act of terrorism, or other man-made disaster that results in mass fatality. That is H.R. 6566. The situation is this, folks. Jesse Ventura talked about it on his show, Conspiracy Theory, which the third season is November 7th. And I got to tell you this. Everything that you see now on that show is happening. Now, you'll have the debunkers come out and say, well, those facilities are nothing more than warehouses for the city and for the county. And yes, there's railroad tracks next to them because they get stuff. And don't believe, I'm going to say this because it's no holds barred. Don't believe a damn thing your officials tell you. Because they're your servants. Okay, you pay taxes, you're paying them to serve you, to do the work that you cannot do. Am I correct in essence? Obviously, you pay the police to hopefully protect your community, do you not? Then obviously they are your servants. In the most lightest fashion. Excuse me, got to get some water. Now, here is something that you really need to know. If at some point you look at me and say, well, we don't have that in our city. We don't have TSA or Federal Protective Service, Homeland Security Police in our city, so you must be lying. I'm going to say this, and again, no holds barred. Shut your damn pie hole and pay attention. Not to me, but go out and look at this stuff. Go out and examine this stuff. I know I'm harsh. I know that, well, that's unbecoming of a minister. Really? Have you seen what's coming off the pulpit these days? Telling you how to live your life? Telling you that nothing else matters except for what they want you to do? Huh? Hello? They signed a 501c3 nonprofit organization thing for the IRS. Guess what? The government tells them what to do and what to preach. Now there's a group of ministers who are saying, no, they're going to talk about politics from their pulpit. You know why? Because that's what they did hundreds of years ago. And then the king came along and said, we're taking over the church, thank you. We have a First Amendment in this country. It is still, let me correct myself. See, I don't know everything, and I could be wrong. And in this case, I might be wrong. On December 31st, 2011, President Obama signed the National Defense Authorization Act, which virtually suspended the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. So you tell me. Like I said, I'm done with stupid people. Email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork at USA.com. Libertyandfreedomnetwork at USA.com. You ever get so excited you stumble over your words? That's happened. I am at the point where if people don't want to listen to me, which is the majority of the time, when people don't want to listen to me, I just tell them, bye, have a nice day. Enjoy your fluoridated water, enjoy your GMO foods, enjoy your police state in New York City and now California. Hello, have you heard what's going on over there? I just had a friend of mine send a message to Facebook on her cell phone saying that gas in Southern California was $5.39. Okay? I am done with stupid people. Done. Okay? I'm done. I don't care anymore. Well, how are those people going to know? How are you going to be able to educate those people? Their special education. I'll give you the absolute truth about that, about why I feel that way, and it's this. I don't want to take the information that I have learned over the past 35 years and dumb it down to a second grade level for someone else to understand it. I don't have the patience for it. I don't. Okay? I just don't. If someone else has the patience to deal with people like that and to share with them the information that you get off of Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook and the information that you know of, you go right ahead and do that. I don't have the patience for it anymore. After 35 years, do you think I'm going to put up with it anymore? No. See Dick run. See Dick work for the government. See Dick get shafted and lose his benefits because he's now a patriot and sees what goes on behind the scenes. No, I'm not going to do that, folks. I'm not going to do that. Okay? I don't have the patience for it anymore. Okay? I don't. If you have the patience, you go right ahead and do it. I'm okay with that. You go ahead. Have a nice day. Enjoy. Australia has police state Orwellian nightmarish policies now going on. Anybody from Australia, send me an email, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. I've been getting a lot of emails from people from RadioGuestList.com who want to be the guest on the show. Awesome. Thank you. I got to get back to them. If you're listening, I will get back to you sometime this week. I'm just swamped with stuff. Tell you the truth, this past weekend we went on a paranormal investigation and I got all sorts of stuff that we captured that I got to analyze by the end of the week. So I will get back to you, okay? I'll get back to you. So don't fret, just sit back, relax, enjoy, because I will get back to you. I want to direct your attention to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Didn't even get to most of the stories yet, and I've only got a little over an hour left. Houston man receives a visit from FBI after photographing weather. Well, let's go to that article and see what that says and see the type of insanity that we're dealing with here. From pixIQ.com. A man snapped photos of a brewing storm last month. Received a visit Friday from an FBI agent inquiring why he would want to take such pictures. Michael Galindo explained that he was simply volunteering for the National Weather Service, and an FBI agent, David Pileggi, seemed to be satisfied with that response. But Galindo was left wondering whether he now has a permanent FBI file. Quote, he told me, you're not a threat and you're doing a public service, but just be careful next time, unquote, Galindo said in a telephone interview with Photograph Is Not a Crime. The problem arose because Galindo happened to be taking photos near a Lyondell refinery outside of Houston on September 13th, even though he was never standing on the refinery's property. Someone from the refinery spotted him, called police, who apparently arrived after he had left. Police then contacted the local FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, which bills itself as, quote, nation's frontline in terrorism, unquote. Quote, I was pretty freaked out when he came, but I had no idea what it was about, unquote, said the 26-year-old man. Quote, the worst thing I've done is get speeding tickets, but I haven't gotten one in 3 years. He said I was spotted near the refinery, but couldn't even remember doing that. I thought it had to be somebody else. It wasn't until he mentioned my camera that I had made the connection, unquote. Galindo told the agent that he volunteers for a NWS program called Skywarn that trains citizens to monitor weather in the name of protecting lives and property. He said when he pulled off the side of the road and began taking photos of a brewing storm and potential tornadoes, he didn't even notice the refinery, but made sure there weren't any no parking signs around. Quote, I told him I had been looking for a clear line of sight and I found it, unquote, he said. Although Pileggi seemed a little surprised by that response, he pulled out a 3-page document and began asking questions off of it, inquiring whether Galindo had ever been in the military and had ever traveled overseas, and about what schools he attended in the past. Quote, I wasn't sure what that had to do with anything, unquote, Galindo said. The 20-minute visit took place less than a week after a scathing report was released on the inefficiency and ineptitude on urban fusion centers such as the Miami-Dade Police Department's Homeland Security Bureau, which was monitoring my Facebook page because of my blog, as well as the Houston Fusion Center, which produced a video depicting photographers as terrorists. Joint Terrorism Task Forces are a little different than fusion centers, but they both operate under the Department of Homeland Security and are under the assumption that photographers are terrorists. Article was written by Carlos Miller. That's at The World in Focus at pixiq.com. Pixic, I guess. That's how I don't know. pixiq.com. Weird, isn't it? You go out and you're photographing, you might be photographing birds next to an airport. Next thing you know, you got the FBI showing up at your front door. I don't know. You know, it's getting to the point now where you can't do anything. And that is very, Orwellian in its own right, but it's very Nazi Germany-like. In Nazi Germany, if you look at some of the films from 1930s, you'll see people walking down the street with bags of groceries or whatever, but you notice they're looking around. Because the SS would have been around anywhere. Around a corner, in a doorway, it didn't matter. And it could have looked just like your neighbor. And there were stories that neighbors were working secretly with the German military and intelligence of that time. You know, you see movies like Stalag 17 or things like that, or you see, movies like Great Escape or anything of that nature. You'll find that most of those stories come from reality. They come from a real story that happened back then. So I don't know. I mean, people can take all this information and go, it's all bull crap. It's all bull. I'm telling you now it isn't. And I just read you an article. So I'm going to tell all my friends, before we go to break at the top of the hour, I'm going to tell all my friends this. Look, you are wrong. You've always been wrong. You always will be wrong. In terms of and in regards to everything that I'm telling you. When you tell me in return, you really believe that crap? That's just conspiracy theory. Why are you talking politics? Why? So, that's just the way it is. I make no apologies for what I say. Because I know, hello, you haven't spent 35 years researching this stuff. Okay, I was in high school when I started researching this. My, as we know now, we classify it this, but my spidey sense went off. And I'm like, something's not right here, okay? Jimmy Carter was president when I was in high school, okay? Then it was Ronald Reagan, because I graduated in 1980. Yeah, it's been a while, folks, okay? And for those that have been studying and researching this more than I have, hey, I applaud you. What information can you share? Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. So, to all my friends, again, you can say whatever you want. I got the facts. You don't. You're listening to those teleprompter and reading biological androids on your local news talking about, all that crap. And let me tell you something. That ain't nothing. Okay? They're not, they touch upon the stuff nationally and internationally. No, they don't. They're lying through their freaking teeth. Get over it. Anyway, I'm so upset with the media right now. I just, I'm so glad my TV broke. It did. The picture tube finally went out. So anyway. Hey, you got questions? I hope I have an answer. Email me. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. And, hey, you're always welcome to join me in the chat over at Spreaker. Always. Just come on over. Pop in. Say hi. You're listening to the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Are you looking for an alternative to your normal everyday radio? Well, check out KTRNradio.com. Jay Towers and Brian Keller bring you everything that you ever wanted to know. And even if you didn't want to know it, go check out That Radio Show with your host, Jay Towers, and That VK Show with your host, Brian Keller, on KTRNradio.com. What's the word on the street? There's only one place you can get that question answered. Mobster Boss Radio. How do you deal with people? Your questions and more will be answered on Mobster Boss Radio. Come join JD and Sonny and Lester on Mobster Boss Radio and find out what they think about the world around them. Go to www.mobsterbossradio.com.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Do you wear your sunglasses at night? Well, maybe you do some other crazy things too. Why not add The Sandy Fox Show to your list? You can find me on Spreaker.com, Icecast.org, and TuneIn.com. Fox out.
You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. This is The Views Expressed, right here for the 8th of October 2012 on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Welcome. I am so glad you came. I am so glad you're here listening to this. I appreciate that very, very much. Email us, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Right now, I just want to get into a couple of things before we take a break. Yes, we will come back after that, and I will get into a blog from AmericanThinker.com. Texas school district to require students to wear RFID chip while on campus. Isn't that always fun to have an Orwellian type of school dictating to you about what they want without taking into consideration your freedoms? Is just, I'm got no holds barred show, folks, here. That pisses me off more than anything. But right now I'm going to read you. I got to go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. I got a bunch of pictures over there. And I'll be getting into this story here in a bit after the break as well. USDA admits exterminating birds, crops, and bees. In 2009 alone, the USDA poisoned and killed over 4 million birds. In recent years, the world honeybee population has plummeted in North America. This is important because bee pollination is crucial for the fertilization of many crops. Recently, however, a document was leaked revealing that a bee-killing pesticide put in use by the EPA may be to blame. Adding to the controversy, more records have emerged showing that the USDA was fully aware of the pesticide's threat to not only bees, but humans. The 2-month-old report released by the USDA itself unveiled that the toxic insecticide used on plants are not only a threat to insects' central nervous system, but they are also a threat to the internal systems of humans. What in the world are they doing? So I'll get into that. One. There's a picture up there, bunch of pictures. I'll get into the 13 deadliest corporations. And I'll get into that one. These corporations, if you believe they're individual human beings, would be locked up for life. Instead, they continue raking in the big bucks. Human rights abuses, murder, war, eco-disasters, and animal exploitation keep these evil companies raking in the green. So I'll be getting into that as well. And you folks are just absolutely fantastic. If you're on the website, please support the show by donating. Over on the left-hand side of the website, there's a donate button. Please do. It keeps the show going and keeps the website up and running. Or it could be the other way. Keeps the show up and running and keeps the website up too as well. So please donate. Help out the cause for liberty and freedom. Please. Would really enjoy that, okay? I would really enjoy that. Hey, we're going to step away for a few. We're going to be right back. I'll get into those 2 articles. A little reminder, I will be on Late Night in the Midlands with Michael Vera tonight. a little bit after 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's latenightinthemidlands.com. I will be interviewed by Michael Vera. In the meantime, we'll be back right after this.
Are you tired of sending your kids to schools and nursing homes and seeing them shot up? Then you need the TSA. TSA! Let's go live to our reporter downtown.
Sir, can you tell us what's so great about the TSA?
Oh, I love the TSA. When I go to the airport, they grab my balls and make my wife take off her shirt. This is the most action I've had in years. TSA!
Their wonderful staff of ex-cons and child molesters will give you the respect that you deserve.
Are you tired of listening to boring online late-night radio? Then listen to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern. Go to www.latenightinthemidlands.com for more information.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Are you looking for an alternative to your normal everyday radio? Well, check out KTRNradio.com. Jay Towers and Brian Keller bring you everything that you ever wanted to know, and even if you didn't want to know it. Go check out That Radio Show with your host, Jay Towers, and That VK Show with your host, Brian Keller, on KTRNradio.com. If you're into liberty and libertarian values, tune in to The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, at radiofreedom.us. Yeah! Crank it up! You're listening to the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Crank it! Yes, that's music for you. There you go. Hey, long segment here. I want to get into a couple of stories. One from American Thinker. This is The Views Expressed. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for the 8th of October, 2012. Thank you for being here. From theamericanthinker.com. I'm trying to find the author of this article. Oh, there it is. Lee Duchovnik, I believe is how you pronounce it. If I screwed that one up, sorry, Lee. Over at AmericanThinker.com. Texas school district to require students to wear RFID chip while on campus. A school district in San Antonio, Texas, is requiring middle school and high school students to wear a tracking chip while on campus. And not just a passive RFID, radio frequency identification chip. These second-generation RFID chips include a battery that transmits a radio signal for constant location monitoring of students. District spokesman Pascual Gonzalez said, quote, chip readers on campuses and on school buses can detect a student's location, but can't track them once they leave school property. Only authorized administrative officials will have access to the information, unquote. Yeah, right. As Lee has aptly put. Yeah, right. From San Antonio Times, May 12, 2012, we read, Northside Independent School District plans to track students next year on 2 of its campuses using technology implanted in their student identification cards in a trial that could eventually include all 112 of its schools and all of its nearly 100,000 students. Northside, the largest school district in Bexar County, plans to modify the ID cards next year for all students attending John Ray High School, Anson Jones Middle School, all special education students who ride district buses. That will add up to about 6,290 students. The district's stated reason is to help obtain funding from the state by documenting a number of students who attend the school. The district plans to spend $525,000 to implement the pilot program and $136,000 a year to run it. But it will be more than pay for itself. It will more than pay for itself, predicted Steve Bassett, Northside's Assistant Superintendent for Budget and Finance. If successful, Northside would get $1.7 million next year for both higher attendance and Medicaid reimbursements for busing special education students, he said. In last May's board debate, Trustee Melissa M. Chumbley said she worried that parents might feel the technology violated their children's privacy rights. She didn't want administrators tracking teachers' every move if they end up outfitting with tags, she added. Let me interject something right there. Okay, parents are worried about the children's privacy rights being violated when parents are more dictatorial with their children. You're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. While you're in my house, you live by my... Blah, blah, blah. But, parents are getting into the book bags and all this, and they're telling the schools that the schools are going to have to abide by the children's privacy rights when the parents aren't. That's kind of a contradiction, isn't it? Continuing, farmers currently use chips to track cattle and hogs. RFID is also commonly used for tracking store retail inventories and monitoring vehicle access to gated properties. Let me back up on that sentence. Farmers currently use chips to track cattle and hogs. First, we're not farm animals. RFID is also commonly used for tracking store retail inventories, Walmart, and monitoring vehicle access to gated properties. Yeah. Your rich folks in the higher, in the big mucky muck areas of your town. Continuing, now that we have the technology, we're chipping our children for money and their supposed safety. Orwell and Huxley must be outraged that their warnings have not gone so unheeded. From a current report in WND, that's World News Daily, by Jack Miner on students already wearing these chips this year, we read, a counselor at the school told Steve Hernandez, a parent whose daughter Andrea is a sophomore at John Jay High School, that the district currently does not have any single person assigned to monitor the location of students or track the data. Quote, that destroys the argument that the purpose to track students for attendance purposes, unquote, Hernandez said. Quote, how are they supposed to safeguard privacy concerns if no one is responsible for its administration, unquote. Heather Fazio, executive director of Texans for Accountable Government, said the district has not been willing to take steps to listen to parents' concerns over the chips, highlighting the dangers the chips pose to student privacy issues. Even while off campus, Fazio said she was able to get a list containing the names and addresses of all of the students in the district by filing a Freedom of Information request. Quote, after paying the $30 fee with the FOIA request, I was able to get every student's name and address, Fazio explained. Quote, using this information along with An RFID reader means a predator could use this information to determine if the student is at home and then track them wherever they go. These chips are also broadcasting, so anyone with a reader can track them anywhere, unquote. Read the entire article, and it's old school investment journalism we hope to find but rarely read anymore. Americans cannot allow the onrush of technology to not so incrementally destroy our Fourth Amendment rights of privacy, as partially addressed in the recent SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States case, United States versus Jones. While a few constitutionally clueless school boards have already taken a big leap from chipping farm animals to chipping our children, school children, the next small step to chipping all our citizens cannot be far behind. Dictators and tyrants hiding behind the twin veils of safety and fairness will rush to embrace these new tools at their disposal. Quote, all that is necessary for triumph of evil is that good men do nothing, unquote, unless all good men and women of this nation act forcefully against these electronic claims now placed on our children, we too shall be chained. That is from AmericanThinker.com, written by Lee Duchovnik over there. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it. I'm going to break this down for you. Let me tell you something. I remember back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, and specifically in the mid 80s, where I heard of farm animals being chipped. As a matter of fact, I was watching some nature shows on some of the channels back then, and they had they had dolphins and other species like that being tagged. And it was an RFID tag. It was a radio frequency tag. And then I started seeing bears being tagged and wolves being tagged and all this and coyotes and all. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If they're doing that with animals, what's the next step? Well, guess what? It went to your pets and they would inject a chip under the scruff of your animal's neck. I thought, wait a minute, that's getting just too scary. That's just getting too scary. And this is back in the 80s. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, the only obvious next step in that parade would be chipping humans. Dun dun dun, 2012, here we are, folks. Here we are. Over there in the Spreaker chat, we have the one and only, because he told me to mention his name, Corey Hugenberg. I believe that's how you pronounce. Sorry, Corey. Just don't know how to pronounce a last name. So there you go. Mentioned your name. Hello, how you doing? If you're going somewhere, if you're going to leave and not listen to the show, let me know, hey, you're going to leave. Because, with the Spreaker chat, I don't know if somebody's coming or going. So let me know. But anyway, back in the 80s, back to what I've seen in my life. Back in the 80s, I heard of all this stuff. Back in the 90s, I saw pets being injected with this RFID chip. This little thing the size of a grain of rice. I've seen the instruments. I've seen Bank of America come out with their technology of biometrics where all you need to do is put your hand on something and boom, there you go. Hello. When you go to DMV, have you gone to DMV in the last 4 years or 8 years? You put your thumb on this reader. Boom. There you are. You're digitized into the system. Your thumbprint is there. They know who you are. Okay? Your picture is taken. It's on your license. They know who you are. They know it. Oh, and by the way, if you've ever made any transactions anywhere, they know that too. And with cell phones and all those devices, guess what? Guess what? My fiancée and I were out at the local mall here. We were walking around. We were going, doing some window shopping. We didn't need windows. We were just looking around. And we went to Starbucks, which is inside the mall. And so we walked up there. We're behind this one woman, and we're thinking, okay, what do we want? What do we want? I noticed this woman take out her cell phone, and I'm like, well, that's kind of rude. Going to talk on her cell phone. No, she didn't talk on her cell phone. She paid for her coffee with the cell phone. Just with the QR thing. Boop, there you go. Boom, paid for. Okay, you're gone. Bye. You know? There's and I forget the university, there's a computer professor, IT professor in one of the major universities here, and I forgot which one it was. And I saw this on one of the channels where he had a chip embedded and basically a small miniature PC board and all this embedded into his arm, and he walks down the hallway and the lights come on just by him either thinking about turning the lights on or doing something that turns the lights on. Yeah, that's kind of scary, don't you think? Don't you think that's a little bit scary? Because I do. Okay, I knew this was coming back in the 80s. Everything that is happening today, folks, I saw the technology being developed while I was in my electronics class and reading about it in high school 30-some-odd years ago. So don't give me this crap that all of this is conspiracy theory. It's not. When will you wake up? Oh, wait. Your IQ is my shoe size. Maybe you won't. I don't know. I know. People are going, you're going to offend people. At least I planted the seed, and hopefully they think about what I say. After being so outraged that I offended them, grow some thicker skin there, Clyde. I'm at the point where I look at the technology and I'm going, why? Why do we have all of this technology? Why? Look back in history. The radio came around in the 30s, 20s and 30s, late 20s, early 30s. Okay? And then when you look at from like 1935 to 1955, what happened? Let's see. Technology, not only in an incremental manner, developed much better, and in much better ways was more convenient at that time, but it became an opiate to most people. They could not get enough of it. I need to hear what's on the radio, what's happening on the news. And then you had the radio dramas, and you had all of that. And then you had 1938, the Orson Welles coming out with War of the Worlds. And everybody's saying, oh my God, we got UFOs, oh, we got aliens from another planet. Oh my God. Folks, look at the degree of the technology from 1955 to 1975. You could also go back to 1945 to 1975. Okay? Look at how much better in almost unbelievably quick succession new stuff came out over time. Okay? Look at it. Do you think it was any genius here on Earth that could ever have thought about those things? But that's a different story altogether. But look at what happened. From 1975 to 2005, look what happened to the technology. Okay? Look at it. 1915 to 1945, 1945 to 1975, 1975 to 2005. What happened? We have some very, 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 very smart people here, but obviously there was something else behind the scenes going on. Did you know that in 1969, the Apollo mission that went to the moon was on, well, the power that took to get that aircraft up and to get the lunar module to, going how it went, you all know that. One of the scientists came out and said the batteries generated as much power as your watch in your battery today. Think about that for a minute, folks. I mean, come on. And you're going to tell me that all of the stuff that I'm talking about is conspiracy theory? I'm going to say it again, and I hold nothing back. You're wrong. You always have been wrong, and you always will be wrong. So anybody that wants to debunk or attempt to debunk anything that I say, bring it on, Mr. or Mrs., depending. You ain't got nothing on the facts, okay? You're going to tear it all apart, throw some negativity in there, grab your own stuff, throw it. You're like those people, those sheeple, I should say, that are around those people who are awake going, you really want... no, that's not how it goes. The news is correct. They have all the right information. Let me go back and watch them read that off the teleprompter again. Yeah. You're wrong. You always have been wrong. You always will be wrong. We'll be back right after this. It's New York, February 6, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, a desk clerk, has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. From family to friends in everyday life, he sees it for what it is. He'll tell you his views on family, politics, and what's in the news. From the world around him, he discusses many issues. Come listen to The Brian Keller Show right here on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is the Views Expressed for the 8th of October 2012. Tonight I will be on, in a little over an hour, I will be, actually no, in less than an hour, I will be on Late Night in the Midlands with Michael Vera. Going to be talking about some stuff, what's happening in our world today, talk about my book, Many Directions of Man. You can get on my website there, associated with this show. And going to be also discussing my view of the Mark Dice, Alex Jones little bitter thing going on there. I look at it this way. Get over it. Mark Dice didn't get what he wanted, and, you know, and all that. And, well, you know, you turn the page and you move on. You don't go slamming people in the media. Sorry. You know, if and I don't care who you are. If you're going to slam somebody in the media or on a website or on Facebook or whatever, that kind of makes me question your integrity and makes me question everything that you're doing. Okay? It's just me. I don't know about anybody else. Let me know. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. That's my personal email address to the show. So, yes, you can email me there. freeamericaradio@usa.com. But I'll be on Late Night in the Midlands in a little bit. And Michael Vera is the host. You can go to latenightinthemidlands.com. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see a player, Blog Talk Radio player. You can just press play, and the show will hopefully play. I know on my system it doesn't for some strange reason. I got to go open my laptop and listen to it on there. It's strange. Anyway, go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check stuff out. I only got 2 articles, and I read you something, and I don't have a whole lot of time, but I will get into the 13 deadliest corporations. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check out all the articles and pictures I have there. From Truth Beckons, they put this up 22 hours ago. Corporations, 13 of the deadliest corporations. These corporations, if they were individual human beings, would be locked up for life. Instead, they continue raking in the big bucks. Human rights abuses, murder, war, eco-disasters, and animal exploitation keep these evil companies raking in the green, prepared to be disgusted. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'll just probably highlight some of these. Number 1, Monsanto. Big Agra makes the list with Monsanto. Pushers of genetically modified foods, bovine growth hormones, and poison. Monsanto's list of evils include creating the Terminator seed, which, now get this, Terminator seed. What's that? Well, I'll tell you what that is. That's a seed which creates plants which never fruit or flower, so that farmers must purchase them anew yearly, lobbying to have, this is Monsanto, lobbying to have hormone-free labels removed from the labels of milk and infant milk replacer through bovine growth hormone is believed to be a cancer accelerator, as well as a wide range of environmental and human health violations associated with use of Monsanto's poison, most notably Agent Orange. Between 1965 and 1972, Monsanto illegally dumped thousands of tons of highly toxic waste in the UK landfills. According to Environment Agency, the chemicals were polluting groundwater and air 30 years after they were dumped. Alabama sued Monsanto for 40 years of dumping mercury and PCB into local creeks. Plus, Monsanto is infamous for sticking it to the very farmers it claims to be helping, such as when it sued and jailed a farmer for saving seed from one season's crop to plant the next. Chevron. Several big oil companies take this list, but Chevron deserves a special place in hell. Between 1972 and 1993, Chevron, then Texaco, discharged 18 billion gallons of toxic water into the rainforest of Ecuador without any remediation, destroying the livelihoods of local farmers and sickening indigenous populations. Chevron has also done plenty of polluting right here in the U.S. In 1998, Richmond, California sued Chevron for illegally bypassing wastewater treatments and contaminating local water supplies. Ditto in New Hampshire in 2003. Chevron was responsible for the death of several Nigerians who protested the company's exploiting presence in the Nigerian Delta. Chevron paid the local militia, known for its human rights abuses, to squash the protests and even supplied them with choppers and boats. The military opened fire on the protesters, then burned their villages to the ground. De Beers, you've heard of them, haven't you, several years ago? Diamonds are a girl's best friend unless she lives in the Ivory Coast. Blood or conflict diamonds are the name given to minerals purchased from insurgencies in war-torn countries. Prior to 2000, when the UN finally took a stand against the practice, De Beers was knowingly funding violent guerrilla movements in Angola, Sierra Nevada, and the Congo, not here in Nevada, but over there, and in the Congo with its diamond purchases. In Botswana, De Beers was then blamed for the clearing of land to be mined for diamonds, including the forcible removal of indigenous peoples who had lived there for thousands of years. The government allegedly cut off the tribe's water supply, threatened, tortured, and even hanged resistors. Who knows? I might get through all this. Number 4, Tyson. If you don't care about the horrendous animal abuse that has been documented in Tyson's factory farms, you have to flinch at the Tyson's appalling environmental abuses and workers' rights violations, as well as the fact that on several occasions Tyson has allowed E. coli tainted beef to enter the food supply. A recent study showed that Tyson's chickens were the most salmonella and I don't know, whatever word that is, you go look it up, filled poultry of all the major suppliers. As if that wasn't gross enough, Tyson has been sued repeatedly for illegally dumping untreated wastewater into Tulsa's water supply. After they were sued the first time, they simply paid the fine and continued the practice. Tyson has made people seriously ill with the ammonia from their factory farms. Tyson is infamous for knowingly hiring illegal immigrants and has even been accused of human trafficking to supply themselves with cheap labor. Another reason why we need to close the border. Number 5, Philip Morris is the largest manufacturer of cigarettes in the U.S. Cigarettes are known to cause cancer in smokers as well as birth defects in unborn children if the mother smokes while pregnant. Cigarette smoke contains 43 known carcinogens and over 4,000 chemicals, including carbon monoxide, formaldehyde, hydrogen cyanide, nicotine, ammonia, and arsenic. Nicotine, the primary psychoactive chemical in tobacco, has been shown to be psychologically addictive. Smoking raises blood pressure, affects the central nervous system, and constricts the blood vessels. Discarded cigarette butts are a major pollutant, as smokers routinely toss their slow-to-degrade filters on the ground. Many of these filters make their way into salt and freshwater bodies where their chemicals leach into the water. Then again, cigarettes make you look cool. It also contributes to emphysema and COPD. Number 6, Halliburton. Any corporation that has Dick Cheney as a CEO has got to be evil. Halliburton, a huge oil field services company, profited big time from the U.S. invasion of Iraq when Cheney called in his boys to quell burning oil wells and to help the Iraq oil minister pump and distribute oil. Halliburton has also been implicated in countless oil spills, including the BP disaster in 2010. Number 7, Coca-Cola. Check out and the person who writes this said, check out my article, Coca-Cola supporting the regime of Swaziland dictator King Mtswati III. America's favorite soft drink, deadly. You get that? Here it goes. America's favorite soft drink, deadly? Well, even if you choose to overlook the childhood obesity epidemic and how soft drinks market to children to get them to buy something really, really bad for them, Coca-Cola Corporation has wrought devastation in India, where its factories use up to 1 million liters of water per day, leaving tens of thousands of nearby residents dry during the drought months. Then the factories dispose of the wastewater improperly, contaminating whatever water is left. A lawsuit in 2001 accused Coca-Cola of hiring paramilitaries in Colombia, which suppressed unionization in the cola plant there through intimidation, torture, and murder. Number 8, Pfizer. Big Pharma gets rich when you get sick. Pfizer, the largest pharmaceutical corporation in the U.S., pleaded guilty in 2009 to the largest healthcare fraud in the U.S. history, receiving the largest criminal penalty ever for illegally marketing 4 of its drugs. It was Pfizer's 4th such case. As if Pfizer's massive use of animal experimentation wasn't heart-wrenching enough, Pfizer decided to use Nigerian children as guinea pigs. In 1996, Pfizer traveled to Kano, Nigeria to try out an experimental antibiotic on third world diseases such as measles, cholera, and bacterial meningitis. They gave trovafloxacin, Trovafloxacin, to approximately 200 children. Dozens of them died in the experiment, while many others developed mental and physical deformities. According to EPA, Pfizer can also proudly claim to be among the top 10 companies in America causing the most pollution. Number 9, ExxonMobil, another oil company that makes the list. ExxonMobil is perhaps best known for the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill, which resulted in 11 million gallons of oil contaminating Prince William Sound. But they also have been responsible for a huge oil spill in Brooklyn and for aiding in the decline of Russia's critical endangered gray whale because of drilling in its habitat. The Political Economy Research Institute ranks ExxonMobil 6th among corporations emitting airborne pollutants in the United States. ExxonMobil counters not by cleaning up its act, but by funding scientific studies which refute global warming. ExxonMobil was targeted by human rights activists in 2001 when a lawsuit alleged that ExxonMobil hired Indonesian military who raped and tortured and murdered while serving as security at their plant in whatever town that was. Caterpillar Company. Caterpillar sells all kinds of tractors, trucks, and machinery, including many of the vehicles, ships, and submarines used by the U.S. military. Caterpillar also supplies the Israeli army with bulldozers, which are used to demolish Palestinian homes, sometimes with the people still inside. In 2003, a Caterpillar bulldozer ran over and killed Rachel Corrie, an American protesting in Gaza who stood in front of the tractor to prevent the destruction of a Palestinian home. Nestle, ooh, you like chocolate, you won't like it after this. Number 11, Nestle. Sticky sweet image aside, Nestle's crimes against men and nature include massive deforestation in Borneo, the habitat of the critically endangered orangutan, to grow palm oil, and buying milk from farms illegally seized by a despot in Zimbabwe. Nestle drew fire from environmentalists for its ridiculous claims that bottled water is eco-friendly, when the exact opposite is true. Nestle attracted worldwide boycott efforts for urging mothers in third world countries to use their infant milk replacer instead of breastfeeding, without warning them of the possible negative side effects. Supposedly, Nestle hired women to dress as nurses to hand out free infant formula, which was frequently mixed with contaminated water, or the children starved when the formula ran out and their mothers could not afford more and the breast milk had already dried up from disuse. Nestle, of course, denies contributing to the death of thousands of infants. Of course they're going to deny it. Number 12, one more left after this. British Petroleum. Who can forget 2010's oil rig explosion in the Gulf Coast, which killed 11 workers and thousands of birds, sea turtles, dolphins, and other animals, effectively destroying the fishing and tourism industry in the region? This was not BP's first crime against nature. In fact, between January 1997 and March of 1998, BP was responsible for a whopping 104 oil spills. 13 rig workers were killed in 1965 during one explosion. 15 in 2005 explosion. Also in 2005, a BP ferry carrying oil workers crashed, killing 16. In 1991, the EPA cited BP as the most polluting company in the U.S. In 1999, BP was charged with illegal toxic dumping in Alaska. Then in 2010, for leaking highly dangerous poisons into the air in Texas. In July of 2006, Colombian farmers won a settlement from BP after they accused the company of benefiting from a regime of terror carried out by the Colombian government paramilitaries protecting the Ocensa pipeline. Clearly, there is no way BP will ever make it right. 13. Last but never the least, 13. DynCorp. A privatized military company is often hired by the U.S. government to protect American interests overseas, and so the government can claim no responsibility for DynCorp's actions. DynCorp is best known for its brutality in impoverished countries, for trafficking in child sex slaves, for slaughtering civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan, and for training rebels in Haiti. Among some stiff competition, mercenary DynCorp may be the deadliest and most evil corporation in the United States. Yay. Yay. I'm going to get out here a little early and prepare for my guest spot on Late Night in the Midlands with Michael Vera. Go to latenightinthemidlands.com to check out the show starting in about 9 minutes. And, we'll hopefully see you there. I'm going to get out of here for right now, okay? And we will be back tomorrow on the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Yes. If you want to email me, go ahead. Email me personally at the show at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to the website at freeamericaradio.wix.com/The Views Expressed. On the right-hand side, there's a book, Many Directions of Man. It's stuff I've seen and some possible solutions. On the right, there's a store. Promote your patriotism. Check some stuff out there. Also, there's a donate button. Please donate. Keep the show on the air and the site up. Remember this. We the people have the power, for we are America.